Just got a hot shower, it's such a luxury. Today's video is about how we catching water and saving water, because it is our ticket to go in remote places. And watch this video until the end because we are looking for crew.
Okay guys, we want to talk about our water situation here on Trade Runner.
So on Schielian, before we had 400 liters, and in Indonesia, without having any water maker, we were able to stay around a month, I would say, without catching water and drinking and having small showers. But we were in tropical areas, so it was way more easy to swimming and just having shower in the ocean, so it's a bit different. But yeah, when we went on Trade Runner, we have only 40 liters more, which is not really a big difference. And the systems are different, so we were thinking that was good to have a few months to see what are our consumption, how it is, before thinking of changing anything.
Yeah, so probably a lot of you are thinking, well, why don't you just get a water maker? You know, you have as much water as you want then, and now, you know, we've got plenty of power. Well, I sort of thought about getting a water maker before I left to the Solomons on Schiehallion. I really thought freshwater was going to be this huge problem. But in the end, I didn't have enough money and enough time. I just wanted to go, so I didn't bother, and I just winged it. And it worked out fine. I don't want to get a water maker. That's just it. It's $7,000 probably for a decent one, Australian anyway. And even more than that, it's the hassle. When you've got a water maker, you have to use it. You can't just not use it for 3 weeks. Or you can, but you've got to pickle it. You've got to go through all this hassle. And then every time I talk to people who are stuck in a marina, they're waiting for water maker filters or parts or this or that, or they can't find that, and the other thing's crapped out. I just don't want that. I want to have... The boat's already complicated enough just with... Well, you can see every week we're fixing something. And adding another system, a complicated system, is just more hassle. And I just hate fixing stuff. Like, I fix stuff well, I just don't enjoy it.
And especially for places that we like to go, like a bit remote places, we don't want to have always the stress of being stuck in a country that it's complicated to have anything. Like if we were staying in Australia, that would be different.
No, but if we're in Australia, it doesn't matter because, or in New Zealand, or many places, anywhere there's towns in every bay, like there is here, the water system it's just part of society, so you just rock up and you can just fill up your tanks everywhere you go. So we can fill up our tanks every town we go to, so it's no need to have a water maker. I mean, in Australia, yeah, if you want to have a 3-hour shower every day, I guess you need a water maker, but for normal use, we can last 2 weeks showering every second day and just go and fill up. So there's no need here, but you know, we want to go back to the tropics basically, and there we need, well, we need to not necessarily have more water, but we need to conserve what we have, and we need to catch what comes down, basically. So this video is going to be about that. As Marie said, we've lived on the boat now for a couple of months, and we've sort of figured out what our usage is and what the systems are, and now I'm changing things.
So yeah, because basically here I would say we have 2 or 3 weeks of independence with water. And mainly because we don't have any salt water
in the galley.
In the galley.
Yeah.
So for all the dishes we are using the fresh water, which is okay because as you said, in Australia we can fill up almost everywhere and it's not complicated. But if we are deciding to go in places that it's more complicated to have access to fresh water, it's not a good thing.
And she cooks a lot, but I haven't showed that. I should make a video about that. She cooks a lot and bakes a lot and does it well, but it is a chaotic scenario, and there is about
a lot of different things when I'm cooking.
There is about 700 dishes to do afterwards, after the one cake has been made, which is good. And I do all the dishes on this boat, so there's a lot of dishes, and we use a lot of fresh water now. And we haven't stressed out too much, but it is a saving. You know, over a month, it is probably a quarter of our usage.
Yeah, even maybe more.
Yeah, we've got drinking, we've got doing dishes, and we've got showering and a bit of cleaning, but you know, that's negligible. You do a lot of that dry brush, and we've got a hoover now. So it's really just those things, and I would say now the dishes are probably our biggest use of fresh water.
Yeah, for sure.
We have been showering a little more often just because we can, and we know we get that. And there's a proper shower in this, whereas on Schiehallion you had a shower, but it was a real mist thing. So I could change that on this boat maybe to use less water in the shower with the shower head.
But the system was quite easy. If we need that later, that's going to be another step.
But anyway, by putting salt water into the galley, we'll save a heap of water, and it doesn't change our lives. It's not worse. I just wash everything with salt water, give it a quick rinse with fresh water, so you're really just using minimal. And the dishes just end up as clean, but it's just you're not using your fresh water.
And I would say even more clean, because we know we have to save a little bit more because it's fresh water, we are taking less time to really clean correctly.
Yeah.
When it was the salt water, I was letting the water open and cleaning how I want, because
we're surrounded by salt water. Use as much as you want. Obviously, fresh water, along with food and power, which we have now, are our keys to independence, and our keys to freedom in a way. We can put enough food on board for 6 months. I mean, obviously not all fresh food, but we have freezer, we have 2 fridges, and we have heaps of room for cans and dry stuff.
And we can do sprouts, and we have our ways to
and we can catch fish, and we can do all that. So if we're out in somewhere remote, the only reason we have to go back to a town really is fresh water. So if we can use less and then catch all rain, then we're independent, and that's why we bought this boat, or Schiehallion as well, was to just be off-grid and away from stuff, and really only when we really needed to, every now and again, go back to land to do anything. And that's what we want to make Trade Runner. We can't really feasibly put big water tanks in. I don't want to carry a ton of water around on this boat because of the weight, but we can make do. We've got 480 litres of fresh water.
Yeah.
And we could carry jerry cans, but we don't really need to. 480 litres, that's 80 litres more than we had on Schiehallion, which is about another week. So we should be able to get 5 weeks, or if we have crew, 2 to 3 weeks. But then, as we saw with Schiehallion, when it rains in the tropics, it really rains. So we need to catch water. And that's what I'm going to do in this video, is add a little catchment system on this boat. There is nothing at the moment to catch water, but I've figured out a way where I can, with minimal sort of adjustments, arrange a pretty good catchment system where we can catch, hundreds of litres in a good downpour, and that's what we need.
Yeah, because we have quite a big area on the roof.
Yeah, it's going to be the whole roof and solar panels that go straight into the tanks, and two bits on the backs, the sugar scoops that I can channel as well. And also in this video, obviously, putting in the saltwater pump and the saltwater system in the galley. Anyway, that was a long intro. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so we're in the galley now. This is where all the action happens for Marie. It's a big upgrade on Schiehallion. We've really got space and a fridge right here and good lighting and all this. I've taken all the doors off, as you can see, and doing the adjustments. I already changed some things. This is fresh water. That's the one we have to conserve. That used to come out of here. And this was a mix of hot and cold water, but we don't need hot water in the galley, and we didn't have it anyway, so I just took that off. I put fresh water here, and I'm going to put salt water here because this is the one we'll use more often. This we'll just use for drinking water and rinsing, and this is the one used for cleaning. Okay guys, I'm done with the saltwater installation in the galley. We have saltwater. It's a little bit of bodgy job. Not that confident it's going to last that long, but the main stuff is done well. It's just the hoses I've used aren't that great, so I probably will swap them out. And I guess some of you will probably comment that it looks crap and it's going to leak, and yeah, you're probably right, it might. But there's a bit of a proof of concept, and it all works, and the wiring and the pump, they're solid, they're installed properly. Just the cables, just the hosing. But anyway, have a look. This is what I've got. So I've teed off here, come out here. This is a little bit bodgy. This part's all good. Into the pump here, wired that through, out here, drilled a hole. Oh no, I didn't drill a hole there. Over here, yeah, and ran the hose through there, drilled a hole through the bottom of this, up there to the bottom of this tap, and yeah. It's a bit noisy, the pump. When I put the engine cover back on, it's much quieter, so it's all good. So we've got salt water both sides and fresh water here now. So yeah, kitchen is going to be much more efficient for fresh water now. So you can wash dishes in here, put them over here, rinse them off, put them up there to dry, and we're good. And also when we're in clean water, or not anchored here obviously, when we're anchored in clean water, we cook pasta with water out of here. For example, instead of adding salt, we just use a little bit of salt water. Pasta, rice, things like that, so you even save more water that way. Yeah, job done. On to the next one. Beautiful day out here in Gunnamatta Bay today. Well, it is now. It was a bit grey for a little while ago, but we did some washing today over at the land and hung it up in the cockpit. Anyway, I'm on to the next job. So I showed you in the galley saving fresh water basically by using salt water for washing up and things like that, and now the next job is gathering fresh water. So both sides of the coin, and I'm outside now, much nicer to work out here. I'll show you what I'm doing. So basically I'm just masking up what I want to do, but this whole area on the top here for these cars here, all the way up, solar panels all around and down the other side, that will be our water catchment area. The whole top part has a raised lip all around, and then you've got the jib car, so that's already funneling the water this way, the whole way, all the way along the back and all the sides, all the way to the front. So basically all around there, all around there. So all I need to do is funnel the water down here into this water tank. Where I've masked that off here, I'm going to sand all this paint away, both sides. Then I'm going to glue this triangle doweling in the middle, and then fiberglass over it, both sides, up to the where I've sanded. That way it'll give me a little lip like this, not rounded, it's a triangle shape, but it's all I could find. It's actually what I wanted. It'll give me a little lip. Look at these guys. Jet skiers are like the mosquitoes, but human. They just buzz around and piss you off. Anyway, back to it. If I had a jet ski, if I had a boat that was big enough to carry a jet ski, I probably would. Anyway, and then I'd piss everyone else off and laugh about it. Yeah, so what that'll do is give me a little lip that'll force the water to go where I want it to, but it's not a tripping hazard. And actually around the mast here I'm working, I sort of figure it might actually be good, like a little toe hold, a little grip to put your foot against when you're working at the mast, so it won't be a bad thing at all. And yeah, both sides over here, same thing. Another water tank here, same thing. Exactly the same both sides of the boat basically. And I guess that would be like looking at it, it's probably, is that 4 square meters, 8, 10, maybe 10, 12 square meters of no, maybe not, maybe 8 to 10 square meters of catchment area. And yeah, in Australia it doesn't often rain that hard where we'd catch that much water, but believe you me, in Indonesia and Solomon Islands and places like that, and the tropics where we want to go back to soon, that amount of catchment area can fill up your tanks in about 30 minutes of rain. It sometimes just rains solid. It's basically just solid, can't even walk through it, just knocks you over. So yeah, that's the plan. It's not actually that big a job, and I think afterwards, instead of trying to match the paint, which will be probably impossible because it's a bit old, this paint, I might just paint it red or blue or black or something, and have these little racing stripes, or like upside down eyebrows, maybe something like that. Might look cool. I'll get the okay of the captain first, see what she says, but I think that's what we'll do, because if I just put a white on there it won't look good anyway, so I might as well make it something that looks cool. Super windy today, so I'll do some voiceovers and I'll just show you what's going on. So I sanded the whole area, all the anti-skid, I had to use a flappy disc on the grinder because the anti-skid, obviously sandpaper doesn't work against that. Cleaned that all up with acetone, and then for the dowels I cut them to the right length and put double-sided tape on them to hold them in position while the epoxy was going on. All quite easy. Then I mixed up some epoxy. I'm using the Good West system stuff, 5:1 epoxy and hardener, and then added some micro beads to that. Mixed it all up into a pretty thick paste, a bit thinner than toothpaste, for example, but just enough to brush it on. Okay, I've mixed up epoxy with micro beads, micro balls, I'm not quite sure, and made it's about like icing sugar or something. It's quite not super thick. I can just brush it, and just brushing that over these dowels here and get a good thickness on there, and then that'll be it. And then just give it a sand off, pull this masking tape off, sand it all nicely, and then paint it over. So we're nearly done with this water system. Pretty easy. Alright, so we're getting towards the end of this video. We've done all the work and it's time to see if the results of the water catchment system are going to work. They're not completely finished, I just have to paint them, to be honest, but they're still, the shape and everything's there. So we're going to test them right now. We're here on the pontoon of the Quinella Sailing Club. Lots of water. Hasn't rained for ages, so we need to do a simulation with a little fake simulation, but basically we just want to see how the water runs. So I'm going to take our water caps off, put them in there. I've already washed the decks and rinsed everything down to get rid of all, there was some fiberglass dust in that, but I've given it all a wash, ready to go. So this would be how it is after the first 5 minutes of rain. We would have got out here and washed everything down, and now it's still raining cats and dogs, and we'll see how the water runs. Are you a rainmaker?
Yeah, I am the rainmaker.
Look at this.
It's a small little shower. If we had like a proper tropical one, like that would really be a big.
A lot more water. Look at this, learning by doing. Alright, well, as a bit of a roundup, it works. What do you reckon?
I think it was probably almost the same amount in Civilisation. When it was pouring rain, it was going kind of the same way, so I think it's going to be good to catch if we have good rain showers.
Yeah, I think before we wouldn't have caught anything, so it's definitely going to help. I could have made them slightly higher to catch all. Like now, when it's raining hard, some of it does go over the top, but then it would become a tripping hazard at night and that. And right now it's actually a good little toe grip, and it does funnel, I would say, 80% of the water to the hole, which is awesome. It's going to rain, we're going to catch a lot of it. So that's cool. If we can put off buying a water maker, that's good, by spending $3 on some doweling and a little bit of resin. Awesome. Alright, well, this is getting towards the end of the video. I did want to show shortly, I am looking for crew soon. We've got some plans coming up that we're not quite finalised. Wait, I'll move away from here. Marie's a bit too noisy with this water. We haven't quite finalised our plans, but we are going towards the Pacific, so New Cal, Vanuatu in the next couple of months. And we do want to find some crew. We want to take some people with us. Potentially a couple or two singles for either just a crossing or to stay longer, 1 or 2 months. We'd like to have people on the boat that are really keen. Doesn't really matter about sailing ability. Obviously, we do make weekly videos, so you'd need to be comfortable in front of the camera. And if you actually bring something to the table, as in film making or editing or sound or production or just a massive bubbly personality, obviously if you're really shy in front of the camera or just hate being filmed, it doesn't really work for us because we constantly have cameras around. But I haven't put this on Crew Bay or anywhere at all. This is the first time I'm asking, but just it's a general feeler. Need to be reasonably flexible, need to be in Australia or want to get to Australia. We're leaving from Sydney and then Vanuatu, and then New Caledonia and Vanuatu. But obviously, everything's flexible. We can stop and jump off here and there. So yeah, get in touch below. I'll put my email address and hit me up.
Now it's time to say you goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this episode about water because it's a really important chapter in our life. And yeah, a big thank you to all the viewers, and an even bigger thank you to all the patrons who are supporting us in these adventures. That's really awesome. If you want to become a patron, the link is in the description. And yeah, we see you next week with some more updates on this boat. Bye bye.